Okay, TNA. Now, before we get started, we're going to talk about Rich Swann. Now, I could leave this for a Gump report, but I'm considering doing one on AEW because of some of the stuff that's been going on. So I thought I'd do it here. If you don't know, currently, Rich Swann... How can I say this? Since he got intoxicated and tried to break into someone's home and almost got his head blown off, he went to court. He filed a no contest in Florida. And if you don't know what that means, he doesn't deny or confirm his guilt. So he wanted a plea of no contest. They gave it to him. He's got to pay one $230 fine, do 6 months of, what's the word? I forgot what they call it. Probation. I don't know why I blanked on that. May have had a brain fart. About 6 months of probation, and then he had to pay another $285 on top of that. And once that's all done, the matter will be closed. Now, he did also state, basically, that he has now been clean for 60 days, and has his 60-day sobriety coin. Now, I'll commend him. He voluntarily went to rehab. He's now done a no contest, which was the wisest thing to do, because if he doesn't want to have some type of criminal, well, he's already gone through this twice already. Hopefully he still won't have anything major on his record, but you never know. The wisest thing was to do no contest. Now, he's still suspended from TNA. Don't know when they're going to remove that suspension, but he does have his 60-day sobriety. Maybe they'll wait 6 months before they bring him back. Hopefully they will. But I don't know. You guys think about it. Now, here's where you're going to go, what just happened? Am I in another universe? No. I'm going to talk good about TNA. And I've always stated the truth. I tell you how it looks. It's not just about how much money they get from either TKO, WWE, or the app, or international. It's what we see on television that is the thing that drives us to watch. Look what's going on with AEW. They're making great money when it comes to the merch, to a certain extent. More than anything, their pay-per-views are top-notch, but the shows suck when it comes to TV. Flat out, it sucks. TNA is going through the same thing. But I will not tell you that this show was bad. This actually was not a bad show. Where there's some important things done, yes. Some of this seems a bit dry, yeah. But overall, like I said, it was a good show. Now, first thing I want to address is Bradshaw. Now, I did check to see if there's any information. I think I said this in a previous video about JBL. John Bradshaw. Well, he's not called John Bradshaw Latefield. He's just called John Latefield. They don't have the right to call him that. Just in case you said, dude, JBL is there. No, it's John Latefield. It's not John Bradshaw Latefield. TNA does not have the right, or any other company, to call him JBL. That is only TKO's property name. That is what he can only use there. He's only allowed to use his actual name, which is John Latefield. Now, they showed scenes of him in Emergence talking to a Nick Nimitz, and they said before that in AAA or Mexico, he met him there as well. It was reported that he has gone to a few promotions to take a look around, but he's not allowed to really do anything there. He can just show up, but he can't use any of the trademark of TKO, which is John Bradshaw Latefield. He can't sell any merchandise under John Bradshaw Latefield. I don't think he can wrestle either because he is under a Legends contract. He's not allowed unless they allow him. So he's just showing up at random places, probably to drum up interest to TKO WWE. That's what that's for. It isn't just because he wanted to show up because he wanted to show up. If he was going to do that, he would have done that decades ago when he wasn't wrestling anymore and he was working as at Wall Street making mugu money. But he couldn't, and he didn't. So that's what that is. Now, they're still in Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. The crowd was a bit better than it was at Emergence. A little bit better, at least when it was like the end of the show, when it was the 1 hour main event, that 1 hour Iron Man match where they acted stupid, at least the crowd there was okay-ish. They weren't super loud, and always, no matter if they're Impact Wrestling or TNA, they don't mic the crowd very well. So you don't really hear them very loudly. Okay? They could have been cheering their head off, but someone like you and me who's at home would not hear it. So honestly, you're not going to know what's going on. You don't. But I'm not going to tell you that the show was bad. Look, originally we were supposed to have Kushida and Laredo Kid. We were having a little bit of a match until Josh Alexander came out and whooped both their asses. Laredo Kid was laid out, but Kushida was pissed and he said, I want him in the ring now. So instead of getting a full match between Laredo Kid and Kushida, we get Kushida and Josh Alexander, which was a good match. Not going to tell it wasn't. It was a good match. But in the end, I knew Josh was not going to job here. He's in the storyline right now. But did they try to make it good? And this is what you got to understand. It's not about if you know the ending of it. It's how good it looks. So when it ends, you're not really thinking about, oh, this just is boring because I knew it was ending. No. You wanted to make it clear that Josh is so determined to get back to the world title picture. He's so angry that he didn't win his title that he's going to go crazy. And generally speaking, it was not that bad. In the end, we get Kushida getting the C4 spike and a couple other things on top of it. But then afterward, we got Joe Henry saying, you didn't have to act like that. And I haven't forgotten what you did when he didn't say this, but basically he got nuts shotted by pretty much Josh before, and he hasn't forgotten it. So that will play something at the end of the night. Now, what did we get for the Knockouts tag? Well, not Knockouts tag, sorry. Let me give it to you like this. The Knockouts Open Challenge. I think the reason I botched here is due to the fact that there were two women from NXT this time. Ariana Grace, who is now I will give them this. This is where, at least I will say, I do not still feel that TNA is getting a good part out of this. I'm sorry. If you feel like TNA is getting a great amount of stuff, I don't. Because we're still sending more important people over from TNA to TKO WWE than TKO WWE is sending over to TNA. They're only sending the most lowest tier wrestlers who are not really in any major storylines that are prominent. They're either very low to having no at all storylines. That's the deal, guys. Yes, we had Charlie Dempsey working in the Heritage Cup, but by the time he went, did the match with the Rascals, and then did again when it came to Jonathan Gresham, which I still think is one of the best technical wrestling matches of the entire year. I may actually do the best of matches. I'm considering it before the end of the year. I may do maybe the best of technical, the best of high flying, and the best of most best story. I'm considering it. But he was still low hanging fruit. He is. Yes, he's now got the Heritage Cup back, but still, he is not the highest they got in NXT. He's not. He is floating here between middle and low. That's how the No Quarter Catch crew has been. But I will say Ariana Grace is now the liaison from NXT to TNA. Fine. If they're doing this for the women there, that's good. There's no problem with that. And we got Carmen Petrovich coming out to be the one that was going to do the match, which is fine. No problem. At least they're trying to fill the gap in. That was a major issue with me. Just giving us random people didn't feel or appeal to me. As much as everyone is so excited that TNA is having NXT wrestlers coming in and NXT going over to TNA, it's got to look good. If you don't give a damn, fine, more power to you. But for me, who's reviewing this, what you're watching, I want to have something that makes some damn sense to this damn show. Because let's be honest, where have we had any sense for TNA? We haven't. No matter how much you love TNA, it has not been perfect. They've had problems. And honestly, this has been needed for quite a while. They need to fill in the gaps creatively. So this is what we got. And obviously, because of what's going to happen with Jordan Grace, next Tuesday, when she's going to be the first time in history, which I said myself, that either maybe you're going to have Moose come over there with the championship or Jordynne Grace go over there with the championship and basically challenge on NXT TV. We're getting that with Jordynne Grace. She won here. Not surprised. No problem. And since we are with the women, let's do this now. Heather, what was her name? Heather Reckless, I believe that's her name. She is now part of TNA. Don't know how long she's staying. She may stay a couple of months. She may stay a year. We have no clue. This is the first time I heard her. But also, as Heather's coming in, Gazelle Shaw is leaving. Now, she left a post in X talking about how thankful she was. And she's so excited about what's about to happen. And I do believe I had just gone to the bathroom, just came back, and I missed it looked like Gazelle Shaw was being shown, and it was on X. So what they showed is what I already seen on X, if that was what I saw with Gazelle Shaw. Well, Heather was talking, and guess who shows up? Ash. Ash is wanting time to talk. Heather is now being interviewed, which is her time, and Gazelle Shaw comes out and pretty much says, hey, why don't you show a little respect? Have you not learned to be a little more understanding? And pretty much she says no. And a smack in the face from a Gazelle Shaw to an Ash of Elegance. So that means her last match either is going to be Victory Road, possibly, or the next episode of TNA Impact. That will probably be the last time we will see Gazelle Shaw on Impact Television until maybe she'll return. But if she is going to Maple Leaf Pro, Scott D'Amore's promotion, which will have their first shows in October. I don't remember when. I think October 19th, or the next one will be the 20th. I don't remember right now offhand. I'm sorry. That's also a video I have to do. I keep forgetting to do it because it's stuff I have to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if Gazelle decided, since her man is currently starting to rebuild Maple Leaf Wrestling or Maple Leaf Pro, she wanted to be with him. And there's nothing wrong with that. She made this choice. She's gone. We'll see maybe one more recording of her. Maybe we might see in Victory Road. I don't think we will. But we probably will see her on the next Impact. She'll job to a Ash of Elegance. Fine. That's nothing wrong with doing that. But this is what we got. Next, let's do ABC. ABC without Rich Swann, which I as you already know, Rich is suspended. He cannot do it. But you do have ABC dealing with First Class. And what is the guy's? Kevin? I forgot the guy's name already. Venero. I think Romero or Venero. I need more time to know the guy to remember his name correctly. I've only seen him a handful of times. But I will tell you this. Is he entertaining? Admittedly, he's a little bit more entertaining than Rich Swann is because he seems to sync up very well with AJ Francis. When they're talking, he just has a very good gift of gab. And that's something you don't always see from wrestlers. And he's got it. And I like that. There's no problem with that. And now they're getting a rematch next week or at Victory Road. I can't remember which one. They're going to do it one more time due to the fact of how Emergence was. I'm alright with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. It's a great thing to see. That at least if they got to do a repeat match, it's to make sure to solidify a new tag team because one of the members was taken because of unfortunate criminal activity. Next, let's go for the next match, which will be, how can I say this? We got Zach coming out, Zachary Wentz, talking about how happy he was to win the title and to basically end the problem. Well, he doesn't say anything about Wesley, but he does make it very clear that he's an X Division champion. He earned everything he got after basically being in a deep dark hole, which was Kimberly. I'm not gonna be like someone else that's not gonna say it. You gotta say it. He had major problems with his ex-wife, Kimberly. He was in a dark place. I wouldn't blame him for being in a dark place. I was in a dark place when I was with my marriage. And also, when I had to divorce my wife, I'm the one who divorced her. If whatever she's doing, I hope she's happy. It's just had to happen. It just didn't work. But with him, his wife was very unstable. But that was the hole he dug himself out of. And I commend him for that. Not everyone does it. A lot of people dig themselves even deeper and could end their lives. Either drugging or crime or basically losing what they love and end up doing nothing. But he does well. Speedball Mike Bailey comes out and he congratulates him and says, I want to enact my rematch clause, which I thought is not allowed when you do a multi-man type of match. But they decided to do it, and he's going to get a victory road. Fine. But then Skylar and Haunch came out. And Skylar's the one that's talking to Haunch. And he's putting over Haunch, saying the man who truly was the best one in Ultimate X was my partner. But honestly, you guys don't know a damn thing. And this is where the camera work was a little sloppy. It was. For the most part, most of the camera work throughout the entire night was fine. We got 2 people at ringside, 1 on the hard cam, 1 on the overhead cam. Thank goodness for that. It was way better than Emergence. But pretty much, Haunch runs in, attacks them, and then Santino Marella gives a momentary match. It's decided they're going to do it right now, and they have it, and the faces win. I'm not going to tell you that it was a bad match, because it was not a bad match. Zach and Speedball Mike Bailey work perfectly fine together. They know how to work together. They've been worked either against one another, and probably on the other promotions out there, they probably work together in the tag, which is good. There was no problem. Now we got to wait until next week to see how the match is going to go down. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win because I don't know. It's just going to develop. It's going to depend on the character development of each of them and what plans that TNA is going to have with TKO NXT. Next, Jake Something versus Eric Young. Not a long match. That was not the purpose of the match. The match was fine. Eric won, which I'm not surprised because they are building him with, I'm surprising, Steve Macklin, making it very clear. Steve, he respects, he said, if you ever need me there, I'm going to be there for you. So seeing that they actually are doing something like that, I'm fine with. But I had a feeling the minute that Jake was pulled off the mat and he was saying, hey, that was a great match. I know things ain't right. Dude, that was Eric Young. And pretty much, Jake is going, go over there, go on, I get it. But then I'm thinking, well, before that even happened, okay, what's about to happen? Finally, they pulled the damn trigger on Jake Something. Something that we've been waiting for a while, that Jake Something should have turned on Cody Deaner, but he turned on Eric Young. He turned heel. Actually, it makes just as much sense if he turned to Eric Young that he did to Cody, because of basically Violence by Design, where he was taken away from Jake Something, or Cousin Jake, by Eric Young and brought into Violence by Design, which is fine. Good. And then you see Steve Macklin coming out and saving the day, which is alright. But here's where it gets interesting. Are they going to have Cody Deaner turn evil again, turn to a heel, but then follows Jake, unlike when Cody was following Eric Young in Violence by Design? Will he turn heel and follow Jake? That's going to be a big question. Will they go down that route? Or he doesn't turn heel. Jake basically gets talked to by Cody, begging him to listen, and then he takes his head off, even worse than he did the last time when they were arguing between each other. And then Cody's going to have a feud with Jake. That will be another thing they could try, which is not bad either. Now, final match, and there's still a lot to talk about. Final match, a very high stakes match. We got Joe Henry and Santana versus Moose and Dirty Dango. If, in the beginning of the show, Dirty Dango was told by Moose, we're going to have our match, but if we win, you're official inside the system. You will be a full member. And everyone's cheering. But he said, if we lose, you're not going to be in the system. You're gone. And you know what we do to people that are not in the system. going to whoop that ass. They're just going to destroy him. So this match was about that. But as the match went on, well, roughly before the match happened, you get, again, a Josh Alexander coming out, sitting at commentary, waiting to see when he gets his moment, and you can see that Joe Henry is not trusting him. He doesn't like him. He's talking to him, but the minute he turned, up the nuts, as usual, messes him up, basically gives a pump kick, and also a spear to Santana, who ate the damn pin, and they lost again. And now we get JDC, a Johnny Dango Curtis, is a part of the system now. That's okay. That's not a bad thing. I'm fine with that. He was supposed to be enjoyed in the system. I still think that who would have been a better fit would be the king of TNA, which would be Frank Kazarian, but nothing wrong with JDC either. It's alright. But I will say this about the system, because I didn't say this earlier when it came to that segment in the ring, when the system was talking, saying they're rebooting. We do now know that currently Alicia Edwards is under concussion protocol. In other words, she got concussed a little bit, and they're making sure she doesn't get any danger. She's not allowed to wrestle. She does have a neck brace. Spitfire came out during that segment, and pretty much we hear Spitfire say that we want another shot. But if we're going to get it, understand, if we fail, Spitfire breaks up. Now, that's kind of not a great thing, because they have barely any women in the damn division. Spitfire is the only one. Pretty much. Done. Unlike what's going on with Rosemary dealing with a Tatum Paxley and Wendy Chu. And yes, I didn't say anything about the pillow being in the ring. And Rosemary well, technically, seeing Rosemary there, I'm not surprised. We did not, I think we saw maybe a hint of Wendy there. But essentially speaking, seeing that Rosemary was acting very agitated because someone's involving herself in something. And I do believe it's Wendy, but it could be Tatum. Either one of them. Or hell, both. Yes, she's hearing the hive again. So she's going back to the old demon assassin Rosemary, who now can hear the hive again. Which that means all that they went through before with Rosemary, they didn't know where to go with it. So they decided to use NXT to reboot Rosemary back to the demon assassin Rosemary, which they didn't have an option because they had no idea what to do with her. This is what we had with Jonathan Gresham. They tried something that they didn't want to go all the way with, or better yet, they didn't want to go all the way with because they had no idea what to do with it, and then they just rebooted him back to old Jonathan Gresham. Now they've done that with Rosemary. Now, if I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, one more thing. The final thing. Matt Cardona and Statlander. I'm going to say this briefly. Did I like this segment? Yes. And one thing, like I said in the very beginning of this video, they're filling in the gaps of things that made no damn sense. Look, if there was no contract, I'm saying it right now because staff comes out calling out, and Matt Cardona, he shows the contract that she and he signed in 2023 in Australia. If there was no contract, this made no sense. I'm telling you right now, you guys could say, well, of course it makes sense. No, it doesn't. If it made sense, he should have stopped the wedding before it happened. Like all the other wedding things they've done. He should have stopped the wedding before it happened. But it happened. And it made no sense for it to even happen until they show the contract. Then it makes perfect sense because it's preempting the marriage. And that was what I was talking about. Why would Matt Cardona come out right after the marriage happened, destroys everything, and says this is my property when she is not his property? It had to be brought out. If they never brought this out of this damn contract, this would have been the most stupidest storyline that they spent months on, showing a damn wedding between PCO and Statlander. They actually did the segment. They actually were going to show him kissing her. And then Matt Cardona comes out and destroys it. It made no damn sense. It was stupid when it was then. It would have been stupid now without the contract. So he already made it clear. TNA's lawyers got the contract. My lawyers and your lawyers got the contract. It makes no difference. You owe me. So that is what they're doing here. And this is where the story is. It's that damn contract that's going to bind him to her. And eventually something will have to be done about it. Maybe by Bound for Glory, the contract will be on the line. That would be the best ending for the storyline between Staff DeLander, PCO, and Matt Cardona. That contract, that damn contract that's a noose around her neck since 2023, is the only thing that needs to be dealt with. They will probably do a match where whoever wins will destroy the contract, or because of the contract, we'll have someone get divorced. That's what it comes down to. Now, I'm going to say this was a good show. They showed a lot of clips of NXT, which is doing way better than AEW did with CMLL when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm telling you right now, at least you can see that TNA is doing things correctly, even if I don't know if TNA is really fully benefiting from this TKO NXT collaboration completely yet, because there still hasn't been a lot of changes to the product. If you're going to do something with another company that is this substantial, the product needs to change. I'm sorry. I don't care what you guys say. I've watched this company since 2010. I've reviewed it since 2010. And for all the years that TNA and Impact Wrestling, back to TNA, has been, for whatever collaborations they have had, Pro Wrestling Noah, Dragon Gate, AAA, Border City Wrestling, there was another one. I can't remember what the other one was. Next to AEW, there was at least 2 other ones. I can't remember what they were. But there have been multiple times when these collaborations should give them a little boost to change themselves. They never did. So here is the same thing. They haven't changed heavily the product. The only thing they did was incorporate NXT into it. They need to change the writing. They need to change some more stuff. The work in the cameras, the venues they go to, particularly to go live. They're doing the same damn thing they've done for years. And if anybody says, don't you see they're getting more people? This is not about more people. This is about going live. You don't get it. We at home want something more substantial from TNA. We want them to go live now. This is what they should have done. That's what I keep saying. They're doing the same damn thing over and over again. They keep doing tapings, which in many cases get spoiled on all of the sites they keep going to. Because if you go to at least 10 different sites, they're talking about all the spoilers for a show that hasn't either aired yet or just did before you even get a chance to see it. That is why they got to go live. They need it. But this is just me. Peace.